All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to a short session on CV tailoring. I'm not sure one or two of you might have been to this before, but no, not to worry. It's really important one. It's a reminder to all of us to sort our CVs out for each and every application. So super important. Ooh, if you can just mute your lines, guys, just in case anything interesting is going on in your own homes. Okay. Morning, Bonnie. Okay. So loads of value from a short session this morning. Do grab a notebook and pen or shove stuff in your phone, whatever you feel comfortable doing. We'll send you a copy of the slides afterwards. Right, we know that tailoring your CV is a necessity, but it can seem like another hurdle to get over. And it's just one of those annoying things. I think also that we are in an age of the easy apply button and quick apply and all those little AI things that just grab bits of your CV. It appears that you don't need to bother anymore, and that is so far from the truth. So we know you're super busy, you've got other things going on, and you want to make it as easy as possible so that you're never put off from applying for a role, because you know the perfect role comes up when you're not ready, when you haven't dusted off your CV, when you haven't really got time to do the tailoring bit. So this point of this session is to show you that A, you get better at it with practice, and B, it can be done really quickly around all the other things that you have to do. But it does need to be done. Right, this is us. I'm still Rachel Veal. Becky Wilding-Jones has recovered from last week, but she's very busy this week. Normally, we are working together on the Career Relaunch Programme, which is a programme for women returners and career changers and those who are developing their roles to help people work out what on earth to do next after a career break and how to get there in practical terms. Today we'll have a quick we're going to have a quick look at researching and planning your CV tailoring, where to focus your time and energies. This is all about doing it quickly, simple techniques to make effective changes. Back to absolute basics, a CV has one key purpose. It's to achieve an interview. That's all it's for. And you do need to tailor your CV in an in-depth way to each and every job. We always get mixed client feedback on this. Not everyone does it or did it before they met us. But this is probably down to, I say, the online applications. It just encourages clicking without thinking about it too much. I'm not actually sure this is a positive thing for recruiters, because it means you get hundreds and hundreds of applications. And it's just becomes a drudgery to go through them, or it means that you've got to use IT to do the sifting. Now, our philosophy is that you get clear on your career first before writing your CV. So if you don't know what you want to do, if you are not sure, come back to this one later. It's going to be really useful for you later. But if you don't know, you are going to write a very general CV for a very general audience, and even that it's super hard to tailor. So get clear on your CV, on your career first, then write your CV. Why do you bother? It's really important to remind yourself why. It's standing out from the crowd. We're still in a buoyant job market, but it's still important to stand out from the crowd, particularly if you're in this hundreds of applications, if people are applying without thinking. You need to demonstrate that you're super interested in the role. Each employer wants to be wanted. They like the idea that you are very enthusiastic about them. So it's a way of playing up to this and making the employer feel wanted, making them feel special. It also helps it to make the role more engaging for you too. Tailoring is about presenting your skills and expertise effectively. You've written a really good CV, but you know it's only going to get the 25-second glance. So make that time count. And you're making it easy, whether it's for an agency, whether it's for a potential employer, you're making it easy for them to find the information, not making them play guess when they were working here, or guess when they did that. Try and make the dates add up. You don't want any frustration in that. You're making it easy and improving your chances of getting into that yes pile. Starting at the beginning, where do you start? You start with a bit of research, and it's going to really help you to spend some time information gathering, whichever role you go for. Start with the job specification, start with the job requirements. Sometimes you get absolutely loads of information for a job, and sometimes you only get a tiny bit and you need to do your detective work. If you get lots and lots of information, profit from it. Get your highlighter pen out, old school, but useful, and really go through it in detail. You could look at business values and competencies you'll find in the job specification or in the website. If there is a lot in the job specification, they've really broken down the skills required of the role and the competencies. You can bet your bottom dollar that it's going to be a competency-based interview. They didn't do all that work for nothing. So there's some big clues and useful clues for later in there. But anyway, start with the business values, start with the competencies. Get some more detail on the organisation and on its culture. Get a real feel for this. Social media pages, really useful in getting a cultural insight. Is it corporate? Is it creative? Is it innovative? You can find out what's going on, what the challenges, what projects they're working on at the moment. Blogs, mainstream news. Again, it's like the social media pages. It's giving you a bit of a flavour of what's happening right now. And websites can be a little bit static with this. These pieces of information also give you a bit of a flavour for language and keywords used, the skills and knowledge that may be important for the company right now. And all that's going to help you tailor your CV. Now, this is when we have a job application for an open opportunity, but actually we say to clients that when you are looking, grab information from roles which aren't quite right for you. You know, if they're the perfect role, but it's in the Outer Hebrides, oh dear. But it could be written up really well. You can start nabbing the key language from a job advert, from a job specification. So when you're job hunting, all that time is not lost. You can use that for future tailoring events. Start grabbing the language, grabbing all the things which are in the different job adverts. So here's an example of a little bit of information gathering. An example of information that you might find if you're looking at a job spec or you're looking at a website. So this is from an audit role, and they've very kindly mapped out key responsibilities. So it gives you an idea of how you might be working. So they've mentioned small groups, and gives you highlights some key activities. We've got the research, we've got testing, identifying issues. So this is giving you key information which you can work into your CV, tweaking the wording a little bit, but so they can almost go through and go, yes, tick, yes, tick, yes, tick, tick. Now, yeah, we know there's sort of 70–80% rule. You don't have to be an absolute perfect fit. But where you have the skills, where you have the abilities, where you have the experience, be helpful, put it out there, put it in on the first page of your CV so someone doesn't have to go wading through the massive bullet points to find it. Put it in your personal statement, put it right up there so that you're going to pass the initial sift. And we'll talk about the ATS in the moment. The website careers page here in this bit gives you a bit of the values piece. Again, you can work that into your CV. You can also have that as notes for later should you get an interview. That might be useful too, but you can take a bit from the values piece there as well as the nuts and bolts, what they're looking for day to day. We've got to mention the ATS because it's thought that 99% of large companies use an ATS as part of the screening process. So if that's what you're going for, if you're going for the big organization, then you do have to incorporate this into your tailoring of your CV. What does that mean? An ATS is searching for keywords, and typically these will be found in the job spec. So it's looking for key skills, it's looking for experience, it may tag location, former employers, it's the type of employer that they're looking for, and qualifications. So you want to beat the ATS and tailor your CV appropriately. That means using the keywords that they're looking for. Either this information is directly in front of you, or you have to do your detective work and work it out, figure it out, looking up other job opportunities, looking around websites. So using those keywords, mirroring languages, and then the technical stuff, it's the formatting. Be super careful as you are formatting and making your CV look beautiful that you don't go over the top. ATS system, the ATS can throw out fancy formatting, and it can throw out some quite basic formatting, even things like tabbing. So as simple as possible. Tables and columns. What does it mean if it doesn't mean that it won't get read? It means it ends up in a jumble. It means it gets spewed out and not looking so beautiful. So it's just a heads up to keep it as simple as possible as you go. But essentially, in terms of the ATS, you're thinking keywords, and you should be thinking keywords anyway, because whether it is a machine reading your application or a human, they're both doing it quickly. So keywords grab the attention and keep it focused on your CV. Now, if you'd like to join us for a little chat about your CV issues that you're having, or whether you're actually slightly afraid of the interviews which might be coming up soon before Christmas, or whether you are in the pre-stage where you have a CV but it's not really in a fit state even to be tailored yet because you haven't figured out the what on earth can we do next, then do join us for a free discovery call. It's a free 20-minute call, and we talk about where you are now, where you'd like to be in the next 6 months, what campaign process is going to get you there. We like a quick win. We can come up with a quick win. I will always bang on about getting your list of must-haves, your line in the sand, your demand for your next role, getting that in there as a focus point and as a launch point. But really interesting to see where you are now and your personal journey. What you do, you need to jump to our website, which is coachingpartners.co.uk. When you're there, the easiest way through can either go from the ticker bar or go and have a sneak peek at the Career Relaunch Programme anyway, because there's some interesting information on there about the rolling programme. And then when you're there, you can grab the button and book a discovery call. That takes you straight through to our diary. You can pick your time, and then we just ask a few intake questions, and this is just to give us an idea about you. We'd like to know whether you're working at the moment, what you're up to, what your plans are, just to give us a little bit of a launch point, and to give us a little bit of a heads up. So super easy. Do jump into our diary. You could do that now, or you could do that after the session. Pop from our website, and also I'll put the direct diary link in afterwards. Okay. Also, I'll just. Okay, now I did talk at the top of the session about doing this quickly, doing this efficiently, and doing this effectively. So I'll just want to spend a little bit of time on where do you spend your time and energy. Which sections do I tailor? Well, you'll want to look at your CV, decide which sections to tailor sections that best sell your skills to the job to which you're applying, obviously, but then you're looking at all the key sections: the personal profile, the core skills, key achievements, career history, role descriptions, education, qualifications. Yeah, you really do need to tailor all of them, but if you had to narrow that down, if you absolutely had to, then you go for personal profile, core skills, and key achievements. And you, with the rest of it, it's just a little tidy up anyway, and it's sometimes about the positioning. If yeah, so a bit of the reordering. Now, supposing you were really pushed, supposing the deadline is 6 p.m, then the personal profile and the core skills would be where you spend your time. Let's have a little bit of a look. So personal profile, we've done our research. We've grabbed either the job specifications, some information off the website. We perhaps looked at similar roles. So with the personal profile or personal statement, you can start to weave in some of the wording, some of the phrasing, and get that in there. How do you do that? Can you do a direct copy and paste? I paste, ideally, do something slightly more sophisticated, but take the basic language, again, so they can go tick, tick, tick all the way across. We will forward these slides afterwards, but you can see we've taken a little look, we've looked at the requirements and worked in the varied work, the innovative style of the organisation. They have to know that you're wanting to come and work for them. You don't want you want to take away the general bit as much as possible, even if you just did this in your personal profile, personal statement. Getting the audit experience in there, just little check marks, because your personal profile is there right up front, and we want someone to keep reading on. So your personal profile is an absolute must. It's absolutely critical. We've ensured that the reader can tick off minimum skills and experience required for the role. So they're happy with that. They're going to read on. Then we move on to the core skills section. I shan't do that today. Core skills. It may be that you've written a really strong CV anyway, and you know where you're going, you're pretty focused, and it may be here that you're just juggling priorities around what is most important amongst your existing skills section. What is going to be most important to this potential employer? Most important, you put it first and last. Think about how people remember things. If you have many things there, if it's a bit death by bullet pointy anyway, they're not going to remember all those things, but you want the first ones to be really good, and you want the last one to be strong. In this example here, they've nabbed some bits and pieces from the job spec, from the job ad, copied a little bit of it, reworked a little bit of it. Also is relevant to the role. Now, these phrases are all very well, but if you can provide a little bit of evidence to back it up, that makes it all so much stronger. So if you can take one of these sorts of phrases and make that phrase in when I worked in, working here, was required to do this. The result was that. If you can pin it down to something, because it's very easy to make these claims, also be aware that even if you don't back it up on your CV, you may be asked to back it up at interview. So you need to have this stuff in your head anyway. So if you can provide evidence, do it. Also, if you can add detail, it's not just the evidence, it's the detail. Team player is really, really boring, but what sort of teams have you worked in? Were they big teams? Were they small teams? Obviously, make it relevant. Were they remote teams? Were they global teams? Just adding a little bit of detail brings it to life, gives people something to ask about and something to think about. So we've reworked personal profile, skills and expertise. Key achievements. These should be in a pretty good state anyway, but have a little look at, see whether they need reordering. Again, all of the first and last. Do they need reordering for this job opportunity? Do they need rewording for this type of organisation? And delete. If you've been through our CV program, you'll know that we like to be a little bit brutal and delete stuff which is irrelevant. And this absolutely goes for CV tailoring. Make it readable, make it short. Because essentially, even if you're really proud of those key achievements, if they have absolutely nothing to do with this role, then it's just wasting space. So it's a little zip through, and I will come to any questions in a moment, a little zip through today. But I hope that I've given you some pointers on standing out from the crowd and showing that this sort of thing doesn't have to be a major difficulty for you. Although it may seem like a pain having to do it every time, it can be achieved really quickly and efficiently. And if you are short on time, you focus on the top three sections. If you are really, really struggling, then you could get away with just your profile if you write a super amazing profile. But flatter your potential employer, make them feel special, make them feel that it is all about them. Take a little bit of time to do some planning and some research. Really think about where you will focus your time and energy. And the more you do this exercise, the better you'll get at it, the faster you'll be able to get at it. Do think about saving, how you save your documents, and do this very, very carefully. When I assisted in graduate recruitment sifting, it was always so painful when you could see someone had spent absolutely hours on applying to the firm, but then they had sent the wrong application into your law firm, and that also meant that they sent the wrong application into another firm as well. It was such a shame. Instantly binned, but such a shame. So we talked about where to focus time and energy, simple techniques, mirroring language, taking out keywords, thinking about relevant and irrelevant, and being brutal and doing a wee bit of deleting. It's everything about this is about getting into the yes pile, whether you're machine sifted or hand sifted. It's about getting into the yes pile. Right, guys, I am going to stop talking. Back into the room. Okay, I'm going to switch record off, and then if you want to ask questions, very welcome to.